Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Arm Nation. Today I want to talk about a topic that is highly sensitive, but I think I need to voice my opinion, even if they try to censor me. I want to talk about the recent school tragedy and the roots of the problem, also how to prevent it. There might be some swearing because I'm mad as hell. If you like soft-talking politicians, this is not the video for you. Be warned. I'm not forcing you to watch this. Don't like it? Go punch a tree. You can also find this video on my BitChute channel at ArmAF in case you won't see it anymore. Don't forget to follow me at Twitter at ArmAFG. I know some of this are a horrible platform for free speech. I'm looking at other platforms as well, but at the moment, we get what we get. I don't want to comment too early because I'm waiting for the facts to come and not some fabricated story from the mainstream sources. Recently, we have a tragedy happen here in Uvalde, Texas. This kind of thing has been happening throughout history, and I think it's all come down to one thing: the bloated government. I'm not gonna even bother to mention the names of the shooters or show his face. Unlike the mainstream media, I don't want to glamorize this type of people and to encourage copycat. It's horrible what has happened here. I can't imagine what would go through my mind if this were to happen to one of my family members. A while ago, my niece and nephew's school also have a similar situation. Luckily, no one got seriously hurt. Some injury and everybody recovered. There were armed guards that divert the situation at the school, good guy with guns. I'm just giving you an example of what's work and what's not. In the recent shooting, sadly, there weren't any armed guards or good guy with guns in that school tragedy. The mainstream media will tell you otherwise. How do these people still have a job as an investigative journalist is beyond me. I think at this point, whoever pushes more views and clicks gets the job, to sell more pills and junk food to you and yours. Of course, the shooting happened in a democratic, gun-free zone area. How many more children have to die for this leftist anti-gunner to realize that disarming good people is the worst idea in the world? Criminals don't follow rules and laws, and I'm damn sure that gun-free zone signs is just another wasteful spending. Now, I'm not specifically make this video for the people who already know how to combat this type of situation in the real world. This isn't something that rules and law can stop. In fact, Joe Biden and his army of old senile politicians has been in power combining over 1,000 years. All his gun law and legislation passed. Which one ever stopped a shooting? Can anyone name a law that actually stopped a tragedy like this? All the shootings have one thing in common. These human excrement of a person of the lowest life form on earth chooses to carry out this crime in the softest area. The area that the leftists think is the safest because they got no gun signs or law that say you can't have a gun here. Heck, you might as well have a law that say there will be no evil on earth. But the reality is, we will always have evil people on earth. To combat that, we need to protect ourselves and the future generation from this evil. The only way to do that is to arm ourselves and to arm soft target area like school. Allows teacher and staff to carry. You trust your kid to this teacher and staff for their entire life, but you're afraid of them carrying? What are you thinking? Can you even think? Most of the teacher and staff, these kids are like their second family. They see them every day, they talk to them, and they teach them. They're their guardians, and they also have the duty to protect them from harm, just like you have the duty to protect your own kids. Locking up in a room, cowering in the corner, will protect no one. Staff being disarmed will not protect these children. Before you go off on me pointing finger on an anonymous object that is a gun, look at the politicians that say things like, You need to disarm yourself to protect the kids. Look at how many armed bodyguards they have with them at all times. Do you still remember January 6th? That these people claim the American people is having an insurrection against the government? They sent tens of thousands of armed National Guards to protect their domain against an empty parking lot for months. But these are the same people that will not send 1 or 2 guardsmen per school to protect kids or even allow the teacher to be armed. They also go as far as banning police officers from school in some Democratic area. They wanted this to happen. Wake up, people. They wanted this to happen because they can use this tragedy to their advantage. Vote for me and I'll make the tragedy go away by making school even more softer target. And most people listening to them in agreement. It's sickening. You people who are voted for this type of trash need to rethink this. Making the school a soft target is not a good idea. How many more children have to die to prove this theory over and over again that it doesn't work? The first responder is the teacher and the staff, not the police or the government. We need to arm and train them. There needs to be an incentive for teachers to carry, give them a bonus, a free firearm, training classes. I'm sure 100% of the time that if any of the school contacted these local gun ranges and talked to them about arming teacher and staff, they will support this and maybe even allow the teacher and staff to have free classes and range time. If you're a principal of the school, you can make a difference in your school. Stop making it a soft target. This metal detector and lockdown will not work. In fact, this lockdown will make the victim stay put, waiting for the attacker to come by. It's a really bad idea. Stop wasting your money on that and train your staff to use a gun instead. If you don't trust your staff, why would you hire them in the first place? When I was in school, I look up to this teacher and I do trust them with my life. I'm not sure of today's hire with a blue hair multi-gender teacher, but overall, I do trust them as a student. Allows them to protect your children. They are mostly good people. Jacob Alvarado, I hope I didn't butcher his name, the absolute hero in this tragedy. Ignoring the local law enforcement that telling them that they should hold back, went into the school and confronted the shooter and ended his miserable life. I think the mainstream media should placard his face and his name all over the news, but since they don't get as many clicks and views, they rather worship in the altar of the shooters and the gun control instead. I've seen more of this dog poo of a person that is placarded all over the news rather than this hero that we should be talking more about. Here's one reason why they don't want him on. He said, allows teacher to carry his gun for classroom defense. That's why the mainstream legacy media don't like them. You see where I'm getting at now? Legacy media really like dead kids and criminals. They will shun away anything that is good. Trump was right. The legacy media is the enemy of the people. That's why they also hated him so much. Let's talk about the situation where the local cops stood by for almost an hour during the shooting. I'm gonna give him a shadow of a doubt that that might not be true, but you know, you can't have like 100 people went into school at the same time. That will create a lot of chaos and confusion. Some of these cops already have taken their children out of the school, but never went back to protect the other kids. I'm not sure if this is true, but if it is, trust your fucking government. Give them your guns, and they will protect your kids. Listen to Joe Biden, Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, CNN, the young turd. They will protect your kids with their new laws and rules. Wake the fuck up. The government and the legacy mainstream media is a problem here. We got too much government and everybody think they got a better ideas. Let's draft another cool $1 billion to Ukraine. Not one more dime for the border patrol. Not one more dime for the school protection. Let's go after everyone who got nothing to do with this tragedy. Let's make them all criminal under the new gun control law. Trust your government. Trust them, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry for being so mad. I just can't stand these people, these brain-dead idiots. So many cowards that stand behind the rules and laws, but are absolutely fine with watching this excrement human being rampaging through the school. Not only that, they arrested anyone who tried to go in to save the children. I wonder if these people would have shot me if I tried to save the children. Trust your government, guys. They love you so much. They wouldn't want you to get hurt saving those children. Trust them. The body of these people is not even cold yet. And we got all these talking head celebrities jumping into to give the 2 cents. Again, the very people who have dozens of armed guards, canine dogs protecting them in all the events. But they will not spare one dime to have a school protected with armed guards. These celebrities just wanted attention because their career is dying and they wanted to be relevant again. Actors will be actors. They're two-faced. They're good at telling lies and make you believe the lies, just like most politicians. What I'm saying is don't listen to these people, assess the situation, and use critical thinking for once in your life. You can't be disarmed and thinking no one will harm you because you're not armed. This world is full of evil, and for good people to be armed, we can end the evildoers. Not more than 15 minutes of this happening already we see anti-gunner not letting a crisis go to waste and started jumping into conclusion on what they can blame this on. Not on a family or the government, but on everything else. The video game he plays, the clothing he wears, the tool he uses. Heck, let's blame all the people who are not involved in this. The blood is on your hand, gun owner, but never the roots of the problem. Remember that you have to dig deeper into the roots of everything. I think this have to do with money because that's what usually ended up bad for everyone. Because that's usually the cause of the problem. Most family is falling apart because of this. What have this got to do in this case, you might ask? Well, he had a drug addict mother and he shot his grandmother for kicking out his mother. Usually people who are into drugs are in a few situations. Too much money, Hunter Biden, or too little money and stressing out, not being able to afford a living, also listening too much negative news. That alone will rot your brain. Once in a while, take a break of everything and just go out and enjoy your day with your family. Go fishing, go for a walk in the park. Try to find a new hobby. It really helps. Anyway, he got lots of family issue and I bet it's mostly come down to money. But arm AF, he bought a Daniel defense rifle. How can he have money problem with that kind of gear? Ever heard of credit cards? I think that bank shouldn't lend out so much money to a person unless they're borrowing for business or something important. When government put a strain on the citizen through taxation and other ways of extorting them, like traffic speed trapping and new ridiculous law to fine and imprison people. I swear to you, they got more cops on the street for trapping than in a school ground where they should be. This government don't care about you and I. They talk a good game, but at the end of the day, they wanted everything you got. They will never leave you alone even after death. You will always have to pay your taxes. One thing led to another. Now he got nothing left to lose. Being chased by cops for murder, family falling apart. When people lose everything, they loses it. This evil didn't plan the shooting in advance. He just snapped and happened to be near a school. If I had children, I wouldn't put them in a public school. It's a breeding ground for victims. Unless they got armed guards everywhere, you shouldn't trust the government to protect them. A lot of people are in a financial situation right now, and I understand some people can't afford to homeschool. But remember this, it's because everyone asks the government to teach the kids. Now everybody have to pay higher taxes, so everybody in the family have to work to be able to afford a living. If a majority of people say no to public school, then there will be less spending and less financial strain to the family. Now you can afford to homeschool your kids. Besides, how many people actually have a degree that they actually use? You can learn everything these days on the internet. I learned how to code website thanks to the internet in one day more than an entire week in school. Most school is slow, inefficient, and they make you take these classes that has nothing to do with your career. What have chemistry and biology have to do with art degree? Maybe to mix paint? Do your best to get your kids out of public school. If you stay home all day long, might as well teach them things that matters. Even cooking is more useful than most of the things that being taught in school. Okay, I'm gonna have to let you go. This video is longer than it needs to be, but at one point, I'm just so exhausted trying to defend my own rights whenever somebody abuses that rights. So all of a sudden, it's my fault now? Get a life. You can take it from my cold dead hands. Come get it, anti-gunner. I love to see you go full retard. This is Arm AF, and remember, if anybody asks you, are you armed? Tell them no. You're Arm AF. Peace out.